And I want to thank you for coming also. This is in some ways a troubadour's fancy, a little soiree, as it were, into history through the songs and the words of those who actually lived it. And we're waiting now for another pirate. What you're hearing there is McPherson's Lament. Jamie McPherson was an incredible fiddle player in Scotland, and the fiddle that he played upon was considered to be one of the finest instruments of all of the British Isles. But like a lot of musicians, even really good ones, Jamie needed a day job. He became a pirate, and that didn't go over well with some folk. So they hanged him in 1701. And there's Jamie McPherson with the rope around his neck. Yes, there he is with the rope around his neck. And he calls for his fiddle. And he plays this very tune upon his fiddle. It turns out he had made it up the night before as a celebration of his own execution. I mean, we're talking about a musician here. And then he holds the fiddle out to the audience and says, I will give this fiddle to whoever promises me they will play this tune at my wake. Nobody steps forward, so Jamie turns around, smashes this beautiful fiddle into 1,000 pieces over the head of the hangman. And then with the rope around his neck, he jumps off the scaffold, or as his friends and compatriots like to boast, Jamie jerked himself into the devil's arms. Say Anthony, say Anthony, say Anthony did he. He played a tune and he danced it around about the gallows tree. Oh, little did my mother think when first she cradled me that I would do the lad and die at the gallows tree. Say Anthony, say Anthony, say Anthony. He played a tune and he danced it round about the gallows tree. What an inspirational way to begin an evening of pirate. So, pirates. Well, there really was a time when a small group of seagoing misfits had access to the riches and the liberties of kings. 15 men on a dead man's chest, hey-oh, ho, ho, and a bottle of rum. Drink, and the devil he hath done for the rest. Hey-oh, ho, ho, and a bottle of rum. See, we think we all know about pirates. Is he coming by, Mike?
Lord Rob. cannot find his pants. I told him whatever he has on would be just fine.
This is not the first time that this has happened to Lord Ron. Trying to get your falchion.
But I was ready to cut him up if he doesn't show soon. I'm ready.
This is too much.
Should we find pants for him? Or?
I got some pants for him. Hey,
Oh, my goodness sakes, my goodness sakes. All right. Well,
if he can't find a separate pair for him, he can get in with me.
we'll tell him. Amen.
This won't be cut in the DVD version.
Who do I?
This won't be cut in the DVD version.
Well, we can film it above his waist. Okay. All right. Well, I will actually then. Why not? I was going to tell you how, but it's not going to work if he's not. Well, it won't work if he's not wearing pants. How they ranged all over the world. They established kingdoms for themselves, and yet they really did bear the early simplistic witness to some of the basic values of their own age of enlightenment and the coming revolutions. We're talking liberty, justice, fraternity, and equality. And in the spirit of Black Bart, who was perhaps one of the most successful pirates, that would be Bartholomew Roberts, who was high learned and a teetotaler, but when they took their vessel, his crew decided that they would bestow upon themselves peerage. So far, here, we've got Lord Nate, we got Lord Gary, we got Lord Mark, and we got Lady Sharon. And somewhere along the way, we will have Lord Rob.
Pantless Lord Rob.
Pantless Lord Rob. I don't know, is there anything we can do for him?
Get him a skirt.
I
Kills
think
him, mind you.
someone is going to see if we can't get something for Lord Rob. Thank you for bearing with us.
If he doesn't have pants,
Yes, we can have a sarong. We can have a
he
sarong.
can sarong.
Well, so where was I? Pirates, yes. Eye patches, parrots, peg legs, hooks, beautiful damsels in distress. Those will work. Those will work. He'll be so pleased to see you. He'll be so
She's not putting
pleased
them
to
on.
see you. No, actually, those are a real pair of breeches from that time. Where was it? Yeah, beautiful damsels in distress. Sometimes the distress was caused by the pirates themselves. Buried treasure. Great gilded ships. That's what I love. Castles of cloud sailing over mythical seas. You see, some of it's actually true. But most of what you probably think about pirates walking the plank, there's no real documentation of anybody. You're coming back with the pants. Is that a good sign? Aha! Lord Rob.
Shucks, he's got his pants on.
Well, I was going to tell you that 15 men out of Deadman's Chest was, and that's where we're at right now, by the way, we just talked last night, was never sung by pirates. No, that was put together by Robert Louis Stevenson for his wonderful book, probably the best book on pirates, Treasure Island. Now, there really was a Deadman's Chest, but it wasn't a dead guy. It was a place in the Caribbean, a beach where pirates like to party. Now, a real song, a real pirate song would be, let me give you the chord here, and then I'm going to take this thing off because it's going to do more damage to my instruments than. If you come tomorrow, I will explain what all of this stuff is. This is a boarding baldric. If I were going to board a vessel, this is what I would be wearing.
Here's a health to the king and a lasting peace, to faction an end to wealth increase. Come, let us drink it while we have breath, for there's no drinking after death. And he who will this health deny, down among the dead men, down among the dead men, down, 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 down among the dead men, let him lie. And he who will this health deny,
Down among the dead men, down among the dead men, down, 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 down among the dead men, let him lie. And even this song, even though it's a real pirate song, it's about 400, 500, even 600 years old, you're not talking about dead people. You're talking about empty bottles of booze. They're dead men because the spirits have flown from the vessel. Now, how about going into the golden age of pirates? Oh, sail on account of the pirate round, way roll and go, round by Jamaica, then Africa bound, to be rollicking randy dandy ho. For fortune and freedom the world we do roam, way roll and go. Our ship is our castle, the ocean's our home, to be rollicking randy dandy ho. We think as we do and we do as we please, way roll and go. If you ask us, we answer, we'll hail from the seas, to be rollicking randy dandy ho. If you ask us, we'll answer, we'll hail from the seas. If you're out on the ocean and another vessel comes close enough that you would hail, that's what you do. You'd have a gam, you'd like to talk out there, and you would ask, where do you hail from? And they would answer, Bristol or Hamburg. But if they answer, we hail from the seas, you are in trouble. Oh yeah, the black flag. It is still a major federal offense. You see people going around their little speedboats, a little black flag, they are risking 20 years in prison and confiscation of all of their property. Federal law. But it was originally a red flag. It meant no quarter. French, the Jolie Rouge, the happy, pretty red, no quarter. Jolie Rouge, Ali Raja, king of the sea from Arabia, worked its way into fairly ignorant Englishmen as Jolly Roger. Or buccaneer. We're talking Buchan. Buchan was a Caribbean Indian barbecue. And out of work privateers, the island of Tortuga, started selling this stuff to the treasure vessels as they would come in for water before their big jump across the Atlantic Ocean. So they come in selling their barbecue, and then things began to work a little bit, and somebody got the idea, what are these ships carrying? And they became the buccaneers. They're mostly on the young side. That's because even though it was an exciting career, it was usually quite short. And except for a few awesome exceptions, most of the
You dog! You son of a bitch!
17. I listed in the Navy for to serve the king. I listed in the Navy, a sailor lad to be. For to hear the cannons rattling and the music so grand. The music so grand. The music so grand. For to hear the cannons rattling and the music so grand. Now the officer who listed me was a tall and handsome man. Said you'll make a sailor lad, so come along, my man. My waist being tall and slender, my fingers long and thin. Oh, very soon they learned in me, I soon exceeded them. I soon exceeded them. I soon exceeded them. Oh, very soon they learned in me, I soon exceeded them. The music so grand. The music so grand. For to hear the cannons rattling and the music so grand.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lady Jessica. You see, all down through history, for some strange reason, the most successful pirates were girls. Bad girls. Very bad girls. You know, the 5th century, you had Alwida. She started out with her teenage girlfriends as pirates. She eventually became the first queen of Denmark, Alwida. 1,000 years later, you've got Granuel, or Grace O'Malley. She also started out when she was about 16, 15, 16, and finally she decided that she'd been doing this so long she had to retire in her late 70s. And then you've got Madame Cheng. We're not talking about a Chinese restaurant here. We're talking about the most successful pirate of all time. Madame Cheng on the southern coast of China in 1800 had command over 70,000 pirates and over 100 vessels. Madame Cheng. And then, of course, you've got the pirate babes of the Golden Age, Anne Bonny, Mary Read. To join the Jamaican discipline. That was another name for piracy. The Jamaican discipline. The lure of riches and freedom. But all this fun and excitement, sailing, raiding, and arguably rude behavior, had a few drawbacks. Oh, they call me Hanging Johnny. Away, boys, away. And they say I hang for money. So hang, boys, hang a noted liar. Away, boys, away. And I'd hang a bloated friar. So hang, boys, hang. Now, to pass the time, pirates like to stage mock trials that were inevitably to come anyway. It was a lot of fun.
And please, your lordship, and you gentlemen of the jury, here is a fellow before you. It's a sad dog, a sad, sad dog. And I humbly hope your honor will order him to be hanged out of the way immediately.
Then hark ye, you rascal at the bar, hear me. Hear me. You must suffer. You must be hanged because I'm hungry.
Ooh.
For know that 'tis a custom that whenever the judge's dinner is ready, before the trial is over, the prisoner is to be hanged.
Hanged!
Hanged! Of course! There's law for you, ye dog. So take him away!
Some say I hang for money. Away, boys, away. But I hang to make things funny. So hang, boys, hang.
As to hanging, I think it no great hardship. For were it not that, every cowardly fellow would turn pirate, and men of courage would starve. Oh, rope up be my ladder.
Away, boys, away. was drinking. Yes, we're talking Mumsy, beer, brandy, wine, gin, and rum. What should we do with the drunken sailor early in that morning? Drunk for a hot honey.
That's halfpenny.
I beg your pardon?
Halfpenny. Halfpenny.
Drunk for
Drunk
a
for a halfpenny.
dead
Drunk for a penny.
Yeah, Rumbullion, Rustfolion. I actually tried to get some for you to drink here this evening, but it was pointed out to me that you might not like a mixture of beer, gin, brandy, and eggs.
Sounds good to me.
So you see, you folks should understand that a large number of these people equated freedom with being able to be drunk all the time. Yeah, drunk sailing, fighting, partying, hanging out, just hanging. They were so used to being buzzed that should your liquor stores run out and you were forced to face sobriety,
No.
Why, such a day. Rum all out. Our company, somewhat sober. A damn confusion among us. Rogues are plotting. Great talk of separation. So I look sharp. For the prize! Such a day took one with a great deal of liquor on board, so kept the company hot, damned hot. Then all things went well again.
Yeah.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises, early in the morning. Hanging from the topsail yard, hanging from the topsail yard, hanging from the topsail yard, early in the morning.
Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor.
Early in the morning, way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises, early in the morning.
Put him in bed with the captain's
Put it in bed with the captain's daughter. Put it in bed with the captain's daughter. Early in the morning, way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises, early in the morning. You should see the captain's daughter. You should see the captain's daughter. Early in the morning, way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises, early in the morning.
She looks like an orangutan.
She looks like an orangutan.
She looks like an orangutan.
Early in the morning, way up she rises, way up she rises, treasure? No, not really. You're gonna bury it? I don't think so. You're gonna spend it. Orgies of gratification. Port Royal, Jamaica. That was one place you could spend it. Port Royal was a seething, scheming cauldron of carnal pleasure.
My kind of place.
In fact, one usually drunken seagoing indigent actually gave a young lady 500 pounds just to strip her clothes off.
And I
That was
did
all.
it.
That was more than an average person back then could make in 5 lifetimes. Yeah, they just spent it. Port Royal. Port Royal. It was an English port since the 1650s, and it had early on made a pact with the devil in the form of privateers, buccaneers, freebooters, brethren of the coast, basically for profit and protection. It was so evil as the world capital of the pirate realm that God shook the earth and sank it beneath the waves in 1692. But it was here in Port Royal where the cultures of Africa mixed with the cultures of Europe and the Caribbean and the world beyond, giving shape to our modern age. It was during the golden age of piracy where the average pirate crew was 10 to 20% black African, both slave and free. One of the greats, we'll mention him later, was Black Caesar of Haiti. song becomes, among many other songs, "Come rock and roll me over, Harlem away. Let's get this damn job over, Harlem away. Now it's up and boys and left boys, Harlem away. Oh, whoa, that'll be enough and boys, Harlem away." And then the pirate captain mission of the Malaysian Pirate Republic of Libertatia, the pirates' fabled Jerusalem.
The trading for those of our own species could never be agreeable to the eyes of divine justice. No man has the power of the liberty of another. And while those who profess a more enlightened knowledge of the deity sell men like beasts, they prove that their religion is no more than grimace, and that they differ from the barbarians in name only.
Pirates. Hole on the bowling, kitty is my darling. Hole on the bowling, the bowling. Hole on the bowling, the kitty lives in Liverpool. Hole on the bowling, the bowling. Hole on the bowling, we'll give her hell and blazes. Hole on the bowling, the bowling. Hole. Okay. Let's talk about privateers. Pirates, privateers. There really is a difference. You see, privateers, you were given a letter of marque by your government. Still on the books. You can get a letter of marque if you wanted to, I guess, from Florida. In fact, that was actually, well, never mind, that's another whole story. Back in the 1970s, somebody actually brought that up. With a letter of marque, you were a legal pirate. All you had to do was split half of what you got with the person that gave you that letter of marque. A lot of time was spent by pirates trying to get a letter of marque. This whole thing really came together with Christopher Columbus, 1492. He discovers, well, he doesn't know what he discovered, but he gets back to Spain, and it just so happens that the Pope is the first cousin of King Philip of Spain, and the Pope says, hey, tell you what I'm going to do, in the Treaty of Tordesillas. I'm going to cut the world in half, finders keepers, losers weepers, first come, first serve. That belongs to Spain, with a bit going to Portugal. But that leaves out everybody else, including the English. And they get this idea, why don't we just start stealing from the people that are doing all the stealing? And they've already done the work and gotten everything into a boat. And that's when we start getting the great Elizabethan sea dogs. Drake, Frobisher, and Hawkins. And, Drake actually chased the Spanish fleet all the way around into what was considered the Spanish Lake. We call it the Pacific Ocean. And there, overnight, one very lucky night, every single member of his crew, half of them were teenagers, were millionaires. But all of this comes with a price. You really might not survive the cruise. Scurvy, starvation, thirst, accident, the capricious whims of an absolute tyrant who just might be your captain. Here's a song that was sung in the waterfront of London in 1600, warning young folk away from this particular captain. There was a ship that sailed on the Woodland Sea, and the name of our ship was the Golden Vanity. We feared she would be taken by the Spanish enemy as we sailed upon the land. if I should swim alongside of the Spanish enemy and sink them in the lowland, everybody, lowland, Lord, sink them in the lowland sea. Now I would give you silver and I would give you my own fairest daughter, your body bride shall be, if you should swim alongside of the Spanish enemy, sink them in the lowland. Sink them in the lowland sea. So quickly made him ready, and overboard sprang. He swam alongside of the Spanish enemy, and with his brace of auger in her size he bore both free, and he sank them in the lowland. The lowland, Lord, sank them in the lowland sea. Then he swam back to the starboard side, and up unto his captain full urgently he cried, Captain, draw me up, I'm wearied in the tide, I'm sinking in this lowland. Lowland, Lord, I'm sinking in this lowland sea. I will not draw you up, you can climb upon the side. I will not draw you up, the master replied. I will shoot you, I will kill you, if you play my child a bride. I'll sink you in the lowland. Oh, lowland, Lord, I'll sink you in the lowland sea. But his messmates drew him up, for on the deck he died. They stitched him in his cabin, which was so fair and wide, and they lowered him overboard, and he drifted in the tide, and he sank in the lowland. Lowland, Lord, he sank in the lowland sea. The captain in that song, Sir Walter Raleigh. Some of the pirates, just check out the library there. Dampier, pirate captain, the Royal Navy was using his charts of the Pacific Ocean up through World War II. 1690s. Well, I wished I was a boatswain on board a man o' war. Oh, Sam's gone away on board a man o' war. Pretty work, brave boys, brave work, I say. Oh, Sam's gone away on board a man o' war. Now I wished I was a gunner on board a man o' war. Sam's gone away on board a man o' war. It's pretty work, brave boys, brave work, I say. Oh, Sam's gone away on board a man o' war.
Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously, for yet thou wouldst not love me. Everybody? Green sleeves was all my joy. Green sleeves was my delight. Green sleeves was my delight. Green sleeves, my heart of gold. Green sleeves, my heart of gold. And who but my green sleeves? And who but my green sleeves? One more time since you got it. Green sleeves was all my joy. Green sleeves was my delight. Green sleeves, my heart of gold. And who but my green sleeves?
So I bet you didn't expect that one. But pirates had sensitivities and finer notions. Musicians were very important on a pirate crew. Very important. In fact, in the pirate articles, musicians didn't have to work on Sunday. And there's no record when pirates were caught and hanged of them ever hanging a musician.
Yeah! Pirate life for me!
Pirates really considered themselves free men at war with the inequities of civilization, and they were proud of it. Sam Bellamy.
Damn you, you squeaking puppy! And all of those who will submit to be governed by laws with which rich men have made for their own security. For the cowardly whelps have not the courage otherwise to defend what they get by their knavery. They vilified us. These scoundrels do when there is only this difference. They rob the poor under the cover of law, forsooth, and we plunder the rich under the protection of our own courage.
Aha!
Had ye not better make one of us than sneak after the arses of those villains for employment?
You see, it wasn't for riches alone that the war was waged against the civilized world. And fools though they may be, they really did take seriously some of the high-flown notions of the Reformation and the Age of Enlightenment. They really strove to be free in their own barbaric way.
I am a free prince, and have as much authority to make war on the whole world as he who has 100 sail of ships and an army of 100,000 men in the field. And this my conscience tells me, that there is no arguing with such sniveling puppies who allow superiors to kick them about the deck at pleasure and pin their faith upon the pimp of a parson, squab, who neither practices nor believes what he puts upon the chuckle-headed fools he reaches to.
The only true liberal, socialist, democratic republic that had Social Security and old age pensions in 1700 was the pirate realm.
Die Gedanken ziehen frei, my thoughts freely flower, Die Gedanken sind frei, my thoughts give me power. No scholar can map them, no hunter can trap them, no man can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei, no man can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. I think as I please, and this gives me pleasure. My conscience decrees, this right I must treasure. My thoughts do not cater to duke or dictator. No one can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. No one can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei.
Oh my. So we got a strange combination of progressive idealism combined with predatory tribalistic capitalism. But in truth, pirates had a lot more humanity, how can I say this, than the teachings of Harvard Business School. As I said, there were some pretty sophisticated ideas floating around. They actually elected their captains. They usually served for about 3 years. In fact, in one of the election for Bartholomew Roberts, one of the crew, Lord Sutton, actually reasoned, well, that would be you, Lord Sutton.
What?
Oh, that's all right.
I feel Suttonish.
I don't show any such.
The good of the whole and the maintenance of order demands a head.
Ahead.
A head.
You're something.
I'm Suttonish. But
You're something.
but the proper authority is deposited in the community at large. So it's my advice, while be we sober, ish, to pitch upon a fellow who, in all respects, seems best able to defend this commonwealth and warn us from the dangers and tempests of an unstable element and the fatal consequences of anarchy!
That would be Lord Sutton.
He's no squeaky puppy.
Who was hanged off on the African coast. It happened to all of us. But you declare war on civilization. There was no going home. That was it. To the Spanish main we are bound away. A day. To the Spanish main we are bound away. A day. A girl from the window with manners so shy called softly a glance to remember you by. A day, a day, a day, November must follow each May. as heartless his death I do fear. A day, and many warm lips does he part every year. A day, he parted the beg from the mother's embrace. I wonder if ever I'll see your sweet face. A day, a day, a day, November must follow each May. My Johnny's gone. What shall I do? Johnny's gone. Gone to join a pirate crew. Johnny's gone. Johnny's gone roving. My Johnny's gone. Johnny's gone roving.
My Johnny's gone forever.
Johnny's gone roving. Johnny's gone roving. He's gone roving on account. On account means you weren't getting a salary. It depended on what you took as a prize. A roving. Let's finish up this half with a good old song that goes back to the 1600s. In Amsterdam there lived a maid, Mark, what would I do say? In Amsterdam there lived a maid, she was the mistress of her trade. Go tomorrow roving with you, fair maid. A roving, since roving's been my crew, I ain't out no more roving with you, fair maid. Now eyes were blue, her cheeks were brown, Mark, what would I do say? Her eyes were blue, her cheeks were brown, her hair in the ringlets a hanging down. I'll go no more roving with you, fair maid. A roving, since roving's been my crew, I ain't out no more roving with you, fair maid. Now I took this maid out for a walk. What would I do say? I took this maid out for a walk. We had such a lovely talk. So roving with you, fair maid. A roving, since roving's been my crew, I am roving with you, fair maid. So I put my hand upon her knee, but what would I do say? I put my hand upon her journey. Said she, young man, you're rather free. Don't know more roving with you, fair maid. A roving, since a roving's been my rule. I ain't no roving with you, fair maid. And why did I no further go? Mark, what would I do say? And why did I no further go? Her leg was made of cork, you know. About 10, 15 minutes late. I guess you were told about I was by the tower, my marks on the bay. Both must be gone by the dawn of the day. The moon's in her shrouds, and a light be afar on the deck of my darlings, a love light is gone. So wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. Wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. Forgive my rough mood, unaccustomed to see. I would not perhaps as your landlubbers do. My voice is attuned to the sound of the gun that startles the deep when the combat's begun. So wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. Wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be.
Frenchmen and Norman shall flee from our path, and the Englishmen cower below at our wrath. Our sails shall be gilt at the dawn of the day, and the sea robins sing as we go away. Wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. Wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. 100 shall serve the best of the brave, and the chief of 1,000 shall kneel as thy slave. And thou shalt reign queen, and thy empire shall last, till the black flag by inches is torn from the mast. So wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. Wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. So wait, lady, wait, I'm waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. Wait, lady, wait, I am waiting for thee. This night or never, my bride thou shalt be. The Pirates' Love Song. So romantic.
You should be so lucky, ladies, to have a pirate singing that to you under your balcony. No. Actually, the song is doubly insidious in that it tries to paint pirates as wonderful romantic fellows, but it was also put out by our own government. Yes. I don't want to, well, I guess I already have started, but yeah, I might as well. There are times when our government is really not completely truthful. Period. And the situation here was, we're in the War of 1812. And we're fighting the biggest navy, the best navy in the world, in all of world history. We were really good, but we only had a tiny navy. So we started, remember what I said about privateers? Started issuing letters of marque all over the place. But now you had a problem, because everybody thought pirates were rotten. Oh. Maybe a difficult childhood, you know, or how many of you actually really knew or know a pirate? You see, so what you want to do is put a spin on things, because now pirates are working for us. Pirates. Romance. This was a romantic story? Yes, there are romantic stories in piracy. The beautiful, illegitimate daughter of a disgraced English lord, Anne Bonny, runs off with Calico Jack Rackham, the pirate captain, Calico Jack, who actually started out as a hairdresser, but that's another story. And the two of them together now are ruling the seas, except she's doing it in drag. She did not want any of the crew to know that she's a she. And should one of the crew members find out that she's a she, yeah, they had about 24 hours to live. She was very good with a sword, but she fought dirty. Yeah, if she was starting, or if you were fighting her and you were starting to wear her out a little bit, you know, or she was getting bored, then she would go. And that would be the last thing you'd ever see. And well, they take a vessel, and on the vessel is a handsome, very handsome Welshman who joins up with her and gets Bonnie's eye. But okay, it's going to be a little difficult. The boat's fairly small. Everybody thinks that she's a he, and she is the main squeeze of the captain. But she's undaunted. And she figures it out one night. Assume a beautiful night in the Caribbean. She arranges to be standing watch with this new Welshman. So she works her way up to them. They're alone on the deck. And she starts flirting with him. Now remember, as far as he's concerned, he's beginning to wonder, what kind of pirate boat did I get myself on here? As he's back away. In her frustration, she finally pulls the old routine. He panics. His panic is so outrageous that she panics. And they both go running in different directions. It takes them about a week to a week and a half to figure out what really happened. She fell for Mary Reed, who was also in drag. The two of them finally figure it out. They think it's great. They become very close friends. Calico Jack Rackham is starting to wonder what's going on here, so they have to let him in on the secret. So now you've got the three of them terrorizing the Caribbean. Now, again, it's not really quite what you think. because Mary Read did fall in love with one of the crew members, and they became very devoted to each other. But it didn't end well. Really, very few, in fact, very, very few of the pirate stories have a happily ever after attached.
Drink to me only with thine eyes, and I will pledge with mine, or leave a kiss within the cup, and I'll not ask for wine. The thirst that from the soul doth rise, doth ask a drink divine. But might I of Jove's nectar sip, I would not change for thine. The thirst that from the soul doth rise, does ask a drink divine. But might I of Jove's nectar sip, I would not change, no, I would not change, no, I would not change for thine.
These were the songs that the pirates had. These were contemporary to the pirates. It was their hit songs. Their hit songs. There were, of course, other hit songs for pirates.
Well, the father was a keeper of the Eddystone Light, and he slept with a mermaid on a fine night. And from this union there came three, a Porky and a Kipper, and the other was me. Yo ho ho, the wind blows free. Ho for the life on the rolling sea. Oh, one day while I was a trimming of the glim, I was singing a verse from the evening hymn. A voice from the starboard shouted, "Ahoy!" And there was me mother all sitting on a buoy. Yo ho ho, the wind blows free. Oh, for the life on the rolling sea. Now what became of my children three? Oh, me mother, then she asked of me. One was exhibited as a talking fish, and the other was served on a chafing dish. Yo ho ho, in the old stream. That's what we are too. Oh, for the life on the rolling sea. While phosphor splashed in her seaweed hair, I looked again and the mother wasn't there. A voice came sounding out of the night. To hell with the keeper of the Eddystone Light. Hey yo ho ho, the wind blows free. Ho for the life on the rolling sea.
Eddystone Light, 1699, Eddystone Light. Yes, sir. And the great names of pirates. Well, Calico Jack was named Calico Jack because he was very fond of bright colors. And you had Long Ben Avery. What's that? Long Ben Avery, Black Bellamy, Black Caesar, giant of a man, Black Bart, there were a lot of Black Beard. Oh, now there was a man for you. He stood over 6 feet 4 inches tall, carried 3 brace of pistols down either side, fought with a cutlass that a lot of people had trouble lifting, let alone fighting with. Whenever he would go on a nighttime raid, he would stick slow-burning sulfur matches around the brim of his hat because he thought it added to his demonic appearance. Great flowing black beard, that he tied off. He'd like to braid the ends of it and tie them off in little pink ribbons and bows. We all have our quirks. 1 point. Blackbeard's is in a place called Ocracoke Inlet, also called Teach's Hole now. When the naval lieutenant Maynard comes up upon him, couples that are in small vessels at the time, relatively small, and Maynard's vessel comes up, and they all get grounded on a sandbar at low tide. Well, it gives them a chance to toast each other, which you did in the old days before you blew each other apart, and to exchange a few obscenities, that kind of thing. Then they settle down to wait for the tide to come in. Which vessel is going to be the first off? Well, Maynard prepares his men by having them all hide down below, between decks. Well, his vessel was small enough, so between decks was only about that much, so he didn't get. But his vessel, the deck was clear. Blackbeard and his men prepare for battle the way pirates prepare for battle. Tide comes in, the first vessel off is Maynard's. Currents bring his vessel up alongside Blackbeard's. Blackbeard rakes him with cannon fire. The smoke clears. A lot of people don't know this about old weapons and black powder. Lot of smoke. You fire that first volley, you don't see anything till the battle's over. But smoke clears, nobody's there on the deck. Ha! They've all jumped overboard, got the vessel, grappling hooks, pull alongside, they board, up pops Maynard and his men from below. Surprise! The 2 captains face each other, draw their pistols, fire at point blank. Blackbeard misses Maynard completely. Maynard hits Blackbeard square between the eyes. Blackbeard reels back, wipes away the blood, pulls out that mighty cutlass of his, and starts coming at Maynard. He's really ticked off now. Maynard can't believe the man is still alive. He pulls his sword to defend himself. One sweep of that mighty cutlass, Blackbeard's sword Maynard's sword is severed in 2, along with a few of Maynard's fingers. Maynard stumbles and falls. Blackbeard is over him with the cutlass. It's all over for Maynard when one of Maynard's men comes up behind Blackbeard and lets him have it with a boarding axe. Blackbeard howls with rage, swings around, completely severs that man's head, kicks off his boots to get a better grip in the bloody deck, braces himself against the mower, and with his head hanging grotesquely to one side, after all was half cut off, he killed 14 more men before he himself was slain. You see, they don't make men quite like they used to. So I guess my point being, not all pirates were nice. Bull Manning went to sea one day, and a dreary day it was too. A dreary a day as ever you saw, wet with fog and dew. They spied a scout and lofty ship about 3 hours ahead. Hoist up your main topsail, boys, and after him they sped. And hold your mainyard to the mast, my orders you'll obey, or with great shot and canister we'll sink you where you lay. These poor excited sailors, not knowing what
Well, some were shot and others were stabbed and most of them were drowned. Until these poor sailors lay bathing in their blood. They searched the ship all over, they ransacked everything, until they found a female in the afterdeck within. And she not hearing of the murders or knowing what was done. She played upon her own guitar so sweetly she sung. I'll sing the songs I love the best of sweet, sweet home. Was for an absent lover, they caused me to roam. And well, some did stomp and others did shout they would make her their wife. Stand back, said Manning, an end to all this life. He boldly rushed upon her, and without fear or dread, he boldly rushed at this female and severed off her head. And these bold and crafty pirates, not caring what they done, they went aboard the merchant ship just at the break of dawn. With a jug of rum on the capstan, they boldly sang with glee, "Oh, you pirates lead a merry life lead we." And bold men really happened. And of course, why? Because she was messing up the continuity of the crew. It was against pirate rules and law with severe consequences for pirates to fight on the vessel. You had a problem with another crew member, you took it to the beach. No fighting. And the worst kind of thing was to steal from your fellow pirates. Anything. Some were really bad. There was Olowa. Olowa used to like inviting his victims to dinner, of which they might be the main course. Yes, one time he actually ripped the heart out of a living, standing person and ate it in front of him while he died, in the hopes that that would make his friends tell where the treasure was. Oh, yeah. Some of them were really a little bit nuts. Somewhat poetically got shipwrecked on a cannibal island in the West Indies, and what they did to him. There's not one little bit of Olowa left, reduced to atoms. Reduced to atoms. Nay, mother kept the boarding house a hullabaloo-balay, hullabaloo-balay, when all the boarders were out to sea, hullabaloo-balay, a fresh young fellow in shallow brown, hullabaloo-balay, hullabaloo-balay, well, found me mother all round the town, hullabaloo-balay. One day, while father was on the ground, hullabaloo-balay, hullabaloo-balay, mother ran off with shallow brown, hullabaloo-balay. My father said, "You man me boy, hullabaloo-balay, hullabaloo-balay." To which I quickly made reply, hullabaloo-balay. My father, he slowly pined away. Hullabaloo-balay, hullabaloo-balay. Because me mother came back the next day, hullabaloo-balay. All kinds of silly pirate songs go back to the 1600s. This is my 17th century pirate rap song. A Captain Bolden Halifax who dwelt in country corners seduced a maid who hanged herself one morning in her garden. His wicked conscience smited him when he lost his stomach daily. He took to drinking turpentine, he thought upon this baby. Oh, Miss Baby, unfortunate Miss Baby, it's who? Miss Baby, unfortunate Miss Baby. One night betimes he went to bed, for he had caught a fever. Said he, "I am a handsome man, and I'm a gay deceiver." His candle just at 12 o'clock began to burn quite palely, and a ghost stepped
quite ungenie. The coroner's class was hard with me because I've acted frailly. Parson Briggs won't bury me, though I'm a dead Miss Bailey. Poor Miss Bailey, unfortunate Miss Bailey. Poor Miss Bailey, unfortunate Miss Bailey. Dear man, said he, since you and I accounts must once for all close. I have a 1 pound in my regimental small clothes. Go cry the sexton for your grave, the ghost and vanish gaily. Cry hush, you wicked Captain Smith, remember poor Miss Bailey. Oh, Miss Bailey, unfortunate Miss Bailey. It's poor Miss Bailey, unfortunate Miss Bailey. Miss Bailey.
My grief on the sea, how the waves of it rolled, for the heave between me and the love of my soul, abandoned, forsaken, to love and to care. Will the sea ever waken, relief from despair?
There was a young maiden, she lived all alone. She lived all alone on the shore. Oh, there was nothing she could find to comfort her mind, but to roam all alone on the shore, shore, shore. But to roam all alone on the shore. 'Twas of the young captain who sailed the salt sea. Let the wind blow high, blow low. I will die, the young captain did cry. If I don't have that maid on the shore, shore, shore. If I don't have that maid on the shore. I have lots of silver, I have lots of gold. I have lots of costly I'll gladly divide with my jolly ship's crew. If they roll me that maid on the shore, shore, shore. If they roll me that maid on the shore. After much persuasion, they got her aboard. Let the wind blow high, blow low. They replaced her away. Sorrow and care is all due to all sorrow and care. They replaced her away in his cabin below. Let the wind blow high, blow low. She's so pretty and neat, she's so sweet and complete. She sang captain and sailors to sleep. Then she robbed him of silver, she robbed him of gold, she robbed him of costly wear. Then she took his broadsword instead of an oar, and paddled her way to the shore, 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 and paddled her way to the shore. Me men must be crazy, me men must be mad, me men must be in deep despair, oh, for to let you away from my cabin so gay, and to paddle your way to the shore, 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 and to paddle your way to the shore.
Your man was not crazy, your man was not mad, your man was not deep in despair, and loaded your sailors
A man standing at the dock. Long black hair, keen dark eyes. And the judge speaks. Captain William Robert Kidd, do you have any last words to say before this court passes sentence upon you? If so, you speak now, or you forever hold your peace. Well, my name is William Kidd, as I say. My name is William Kidd, as I say. My name is William Kidd, and God's laws I did forbid, and most wickedly I did, as I say. My parents taught me well as I sailed. My parents taught me well as I sailed. My parents taught me well to shun the gates of hell, but against them I rebelled as I sailed. I cursed my father dear as I sailed. Oh, I cursed my father dear as I sailed. I cursed my father dear, and she who did me bear most wickedly did swear as I sailed. I have Bible in me hand as I sailed. I have Bible in me hand as I sailed. Before I left the strand, as I said. Captain William Robert Kidd, this court has heard evidence that you were commissioned by the Royal Crown Colony of New York to hunt pirates on the high seas, where in so doing you yourself did turn pirate, after cruelly murdering in cold blood your first mate, William Moore, by crushing his head with a bucket. Well, I murdered William Moore as I sailed. Yes, I murdered William Moore as I sailed. I murdered William Moore, I left him in his gore, not many leagues from shore, as I said. And being cruel still as I sail, and being cruel still as I sail, and being cruel still, my gunner I did kill, his precious blood did spill as I sail. I spiked 3 ships from Spain as I sail. Oh, I spiked 3 ships from Spain as I sail. I spiked sentenced and adjudged to be taken from this place, hence to the place from whence you came, and there you shall be taken hence to the place of execution, where you will be severely hanged by the neck until after this, Captain William Robert Kidd, your body shall be coated in tar and suspended until very point as a reminder and greater terror of all of ye like mind for all time to come. God have mercy on your soul, Captain William Robert Kidd. To execution dock I must go. To execution dock I must go. To execution dock while men be thousands flock, and I must
bear the shock and must die. As they carried Kid to the place of execution in an open cart draped in black, through the rotting, winding streets of London, past the Tower, to Wapping, where the gallows awaited on the shores of the River Thames, thousands of people sang this very song as he passed by. Take the warning now from thee, for I must die. Take the warning now from thee, for I must die. Take the warning now from thee, to shun that company, lest ye come to hell with me, for I must die. They hanged him in 1701. They had to hang him twice because his rope broke the first time. And they thought they had done with Captain William Robert Kidd. But perhaps no. For it is said that if you walk some of the more lonely shores of New England, on those dark, stormy nights when local folk are huddled in their salt box homes to escape the northeast winds that the summer visitors only read about. And should you be in the vicinity of the Elizabeth Islands, more specifically Tarleton Cove, you stand with your face to the misty din, you just may see an ancient vessel rounding to. And there, high at the helm, raven hair blown back by the wind, surely the ghost of Kidd, sailing into that cove to look after the security of his buried treasure, for he indeed did bury treasure, and to seek vengeance on those responsible for his death, as well he might. Because you see, Captain William Robert Kidd was innocent. And the song we just sang was put together by his mortal enemies, former partners, mortal enemies, for the sole purpose of hanging and framing and damning for all time the name Captain William Robert Kidd. Heal your whole boys, let her go, boys, bring her head around into the weather. Heal your whole boys, let her go, boys, sailing homeward to Mingle. Heal your whole boys, let her go, boys, bring her head around into the weather. Heal your whole boys, let her go, boys, sailing homeward to Mingle. Such